Finally got this going. Something I've been wanting to do for quite a while. We've got a Trophy Chasers podcast. So this will be a weekly podcast we do. We got a few good people here. Met up with DMC123, the world's biggest Devil May Cry fan.
No, run DMC, run DMC.
That's what I thought when I first saw your PSN tag. And Mike Guy 2421. How are you both doing today?
Pretty good, man.
Good.
Pretty good, man.
Good. Having a good New Year so far?
Yeah, man. It's the years are well. I want to share my age, but tag on it, the years are going too fast, man.
Yeah. Yeah. The 2013 did go by pretty fast. Well, we had a lot of good games to keep us occupied. Made the time go by quick.
Probably the most fun I had gaming in a long time this year. Matter of fact, the last 2 years have been absolutely wonderful from a gaming perspective, man. And I've got it in. I got it in probably more so than I ever have.
Yeah. Well, let's go into introductions, I guess. Most of you guys, if you're on the live stream or my YouTube channel, you know quite a bit about me. I started off as a PC gamer, played a lot of World of Warcraft and stuff, and then moved over to Xbox because that's what all my friends had. Never really gave PlayStation 3 a chance for quite a while. Probably got into it the third or fourth year. The reason I made the conversion was all the PSN exclusives, like Ratchet and Clank and Sly Cooper. I wanted to play those, so I picked up a PS3 to play Ratchet and Clank Crack in Time, and really liked the trophy layout, like the system. Prior to when I was on the Xbox, I had a lot of achievements that I was going for. I started to get into the whole achievement trophy chasing thing, so I like the way the PSN had it set up with the trophy levels and your experience, and I just thought overall the PlayStation 3 was a stronger platform in my opinion. Since then I've been doing trophy guides, playthroughs, live streams, all kinds of stuff, so that's a little bit about me. You guys have anything you want to talk about for your backgrounds? Where you came from, what got you into gaming, why you're obsessed with trophy chasing?
Oh, I'll go next. I remember in the closet back in the late '70s, with the, I don't know what system it was, but it was dark, and I was a space pirate, and all I can see is stars and shoot little beams, and I had one button. But yeah, Commodore 64, floppy disk, every system in the world. I was the knucklehead that purchased the 3DO when it first came out. And I was wondering why the heck this is the greatest thing in the world when it failed, that M chip. Yeah, man, and yeah, pretty much gaming all my life, and it has become really the most honest, safe hobby that I have. Followed Sony from the beginning. Got the PS3, and once they implemented trophies, I think the first game I ever platinum was Uncharted when they did the trophy patch. Mm-hmm. And I realized that I had an OCD problem, and I had to complete it, and so I had this struggle. Right, it's between family, work, and then trophies. And so basically, man, that's been me, man, and that's and to your point, man, I haven't made any trophy guides, so I thank you, Fliptriq, for all the guides you made and all the walkthroughs, man, because they certainly helped the way. But yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell, man. So, and I play the gamut, right? All types of games, and but yeah.
Cool. What about you, Mike? What got you into PS3 and PS4?
I guess like all of us here, that I've been gaming pretty much my entire life, going back to the days of the NES. Sorry, your princess is on another castle. Remember those words quite fondly growing up as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Went over to the Sega Genesis, and then it came like one eventful Christmas. I had a choice between an N64, PlayStation, or Sega Saturn. I chose the Sega Saturn. A couple years later, Sega broke my heart with that. And it just so happened I was, of all the magazines to ever make you want to buy a video game or video game console, was Tips and Tricks magazine that featured a walkthrough from Metal Gear Solid. And I became obsessed with it, and Yeah, that was my Christmas. The Christmas of '98 was a PlayStation and Metal Gear Solid, and since then Sony has filled that void for me that Sega just abandoned me on. And granted, they brought me back with the Dreamcast, but it's pretty much been PlayStation since then. I've owned everything since the well, going back to the PlayStation generation. Played a little bit of everything, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, but really didn't start caring much about as far as trophies go on PS3. I first got like an Xbox back in '08, well 360 in '08, and like kind of like the achievements on there, and I'd get all my multi-platform games there. But then it's like I went to one platform, got another, went back to the both, got rid of the 360, and finally this past year I've gotten kind of start to care more about trophies, kind of thanks to DMC here. But it's just one of those things that kind of suck you in and add a little bit more that's already there to a lot of great games.
Yeah. Trophies definitely got me playing games in a different way. Like prior to trophies, I'd play games. I'd beat them once and then I'd be done. Now we're playing games on multiple difficulties, doing levels or certain missions with these additional like stipulations that normally I wouldn't care about, but I really enjoy the added difficulty that the trophies bring. So
yeah, it's a challenge, and you know what? And there's some games that make it ridiculously difficult. But gosh, dog it, man, when you accomplish it, the sense of achievement, when and you find yourself right when you have a lot of plats. You start to go back through them every once in a while, every 6 months, and you reminisce, and you remember every single one of them, every single one of them. Yep. So
yeah. Well, I wanted to go into the meaning of the name, why we're called the Trophy Chaser Podcast. Originally, it was going to be. I wanted something along the lines of trophy hunting. That's usually what it's called. Is you go hunt for trophies or unlock trophies. I know achievement hunter is a big thing, so I wanted this to be a little bit different from that. So I thought Trophy Chasers sounded pretty cool. Kind of has a nice flow to it, so that's where I got that name from. Moving on, we have a few news topics I wanted to talk about. How do you guys feel about the PlayStation 4 versus the Xbox One? It's probably the biggest topic on everybody's mind. I think right now, with the latest numbers, PlayStation 4 sold 4.2 million copies or systems, and the Xbox One's at 3 million, I think. And I think the Xbox One's in 32 countries, and Sony is still only in 3, if I remember right. And they launch in Japan next month, and that's going to be huge. So,
Sony's in was it inverse? Sony's in 32, and Xbox is only in a few, right?
Yeah,
11.
I was like that.
In the more territories, because it's, if I remember correctly, they launched in, I think, like Korea, like sometime during like over the Christmas, like over December, end of December, sometime in there, and I believe that they're in the more territories right now.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, man. To your point, though, my goodness, and I think that the North American numbers just came out today, and I think Xbox sold like 1.2 in December. Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
But without question, the United States is Xbox country, and I have never seen a more stubborn company ruin the goodwill and good nature that they had. I mean, just the sheer number of folks who walked away from them because of the DRM mess and went to Sony as a godsend for Sony.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't play companies. We hear that a lot. We play games, but you know what? I do have things that I'm comfortable with. I'm comfortable with the Sony controller that I've been playing with for the past few years, multiple years. And I won't say that I won't get an Xbox One at one point. I'm just not paying the $500 with the Connect, and with the lack of first party exclusives now.
Right.
So it'll be sometime later.
Yeah, I think Xbox One and PlayStation 4 both sold more units in the first week than the entire lifetime of the Wii U, which I found to be
Yeah, sad.
kind of
Sad
heartbreaking
and
for
interesting at the same
Nintendo.
time. But fantastic numbers for gaming, though, right? So much for the console gaming is dying.
Yeah.
If anything, having ideally you would like to have three strong consoles out there, but even last generation, you could always say the Wii was an aberration, as far as its numbers that it put up, but it's you want two strong consoles. You don't want just one to completely dominate the market and have a because then they're not always bringing their A game because they know there's really no one out there to go against them. But with both the PS4 and Xbox One doing phenomenal up right out the gate, you just kind of hope it continues because ultimately the people that love to play games, are going to win no matter what. And it's as of right now, I'll honestly say there's nothing on Xbox One that interests me.
Right.
But if something comes along down the line, then I'll get it. And I've stayed pretty true to that. Talking to people about it. Titanfall doesn't interest me. I get the appeal for a lot of people, but something like that just doesn't. It's not what it's not what I personally care about as a gamer. But it doesn't mean that it should discourage somebody else from that really cares for those games to go after it.
Yeah, there's not a lot that interests me for the Xbox One. I'm not completely biased to PS4. I prefer it. There's Rise didn't really appeal to me at all. Dead Rising I was looking forward to, but I've heard nothing but bad things about that game. Really, the only two games that are coming out on Xbox One that I'm looking forward to are Sunset Overdrive, which it's done by Insomniac, the same guys who did Ratchet and Clank. I'm very frustrated that's an Xbox exclusive because that looks really good. And Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare looks really cool too.
Yes, it does. Yeah, I think you nailed it for me. And I'm a big Insomniac fan. I love their games. Big Resistance fan.
Mm-hmm.
Love Resistance 2.
Right.
One of my favorite all-time first-person shooters. But yeah, to your point, I do have a little envy with respect to that game.
Yeah, I would say that would be the one game that on Xbox One that would interest me the most. But I'm kind of a little leery because of Fuse didn't come out that well, and it didn't do as well as you would have liked from something that Insomniac did. But I'd like to give Sunset Overdrive a chance and play it. But I guess for me, I need something more from Xbox on the lines of the original Mass Effect or Knights of the Old Republic, like they used to have when BioWare was almost exclusive to them.
Mm-hmm.
And those days are gone now. I don't think EA. Well, you would think. I think EA's even trying to make amends with Sony with some of the comments that Peter Moore made. The exclusive major titles, I think are going to go the way of a dinosaur unless there's flat out continue to be a flat out purchase power that Microsoft offers. Even Titanfall, this would be the first and the last of its exclusivity. It's going multi-plat next year.
Well, the one thing
I'd
have to say, like a little bit to the the contrary of that line of thought is like you go to JRPGs for example, and you're honestly going to see them exclusive probably to the PlayStation brand more so than the Xbox because of the market. And
right.
They've tried Xbox. There's not the market there. There's not the market in Japan, but there is a market on PlayStation, and I think that's where you're going to see the bulk of your exclusives going forward from third parties.
But isn't that because primarily it's not a purchasing agreement, right? Between Sony and the actual developer. It's a return on an investment agreement that the developer itself is making. So to your point, right? I agree that those will still be exclusive. You'll never see Cydia probably on the Xbox One or 360. However, for that developer it is not cost effective, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of discount those when I talk about the major purchasing power of exclusives. But your point is still valid.
Uh, you know, and you know, you're gonna look at like you know, you'll get your like Final Fantasies, of course, will be multi-platform, and Kingdom Hearts will probably be multi-platform. You know, going forward, the main entries in the series, not the you know, the side ones that they currently have produced on the handhelds. But you know, like this, you know, the smaller ones, you'll probably see like some more tries every now and then with like a bigger game. You know, they'll roll the dice and gamble on it and see where, you know, see what it does.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Hopefully we can see some better exclusives coming up soon though.
I'm sure.
Yeah, Titanfall doesn't really do anything for me. If it wasn't only multiplayer, I might have more interest in it. But I'm not a huge multiplayer gamer, so I think that's why I'm not. It doesn't really hold any appeal to me at all.
Yeah, that's you know, just to stay on that point, Fliptriq, what do you think about Destiny?
Destiny, I'm actually looking forward to quite a bit. It looks pretty
You
good.
know, and I appreciate that because I'm not a big multiplayer guy. You know, I'm not a big first-person shooter person. But when Destiny's trailer came out, the scope, the story-driven in context, I think we saw a little bit of that. And what's the game that the other game that you played, my guy, that was for $7 on PSN? It was not one of those multiplayer games, but somehow it had an in-game story.
Defiance.
Sci-fi shooter, huh?
Defiance.
Defiance, yeah.
If you're thinking
So
of.
amazingly, right, to your point, Fliptriq, I am incredibly excited for Destiny. I've already signed up for it. I already pre-ordered it. And I can't believe the hype level that I have internally. I'm just trying to make sure that I don't implode on myself.
Is Destiny, is that only multiplayer? I thought that was a single player campaign as well, or is it an MMO?
It's a multiplayer. It's an online game with a single player component that you can share with multiplayer. That you can share in with other folks. So it's a persistent, ongoing multiplayer world that you have to play online, but there is a single player story that you can complete by yourself or with other people.
Okay. So kind of like an MMO, I guess.
Yeah. Like I gotta give credit. You know, some of my interest for Destiny comes into, you know, harkening back to the original Halos. You know, Halo 1 and Halo 2 on the original Xbox. You know, kind of feels like this is Bungie getting back to, you know, those fantastic games that, you know, that really put Xbox on the map, you know, back when it first came out, and really seeing them, excluding Oni, but you know, really seeing them do something fantastic, and it just looks like it's going to be, you know, probably another home run from them.
Yeah. All right. For the next topic, I think we're starting to get off on a pretty wild tangent here. Did you guys check out any of the CES announcements?
Of course, PlayStation Now.
Okay. Yeah. Before we get into PlayStation Now, did you guys hear about Project Christine from Razer?
No.
Basically, what it is, it's like a plug-and-play computer. You buy like what looks like a base. Instead of a tower, it's like a really thin, like almost like an upside-down T. And there's like giant USB ports on either side of it. This is just a prototype that they're working on, but there's like giant USB slots on either side, and you plug in like your CPU and your RAM and the video card, all in these little, almost looks like a USB drive. And what they're saying is you'll never have to buy a new PC again. You can always just upgrade these different little pieces, and you always have the top of the line PC.
Wow.
And they want to do like a subscription service, from what I've heard, to where you pay like a monthly fee. It's probably going to be an outrageous charge, but anytime a new piece of hardware comes out, they'll just ship it to you, and you send them your old one back. So you always have the top of the line PC. I think that sounds pretty exciting. If they can pull it off, it could be pretty cool.
That would.
What about PlayStation Now? How'd you guys feel about that announcement?
what I've been dreaming of.
Yeah. It sounds to me like if I'm understanding this right, we'll have the entire catalog from PS1, PS3, and PS2, and you can play them on your Vita as well as the PlayStation 4.
Yes,
That sounds to me like an instant GameFly, which
that's you're hitting you're hitting the nail on the head on that one. I feel bad for GameFly because once this comes out, it's essentially the Netflix
right
for gaming.
A lot of people are saying that GameStop is in a lot of trouble, but I think GameFly is going to be hurting a lot more than GameStop.
Yeah. Go ahead, Nick.
Well, here's how I kind of look at it is, now, like I've been reading some articles that are posted up on Yahoo, about this. GameFly is probably going to be in trouble, like to be real here, because it's like how many times have you got a game from GameFly and the disc is scratched up on the back and you can't play it, so you got to turn around and send it back and get a new game.
Right.
Or you take a look at GameStop, it's going to hurt them, but if you think about it, it's the back catalog that's going to be affected. And after a certain point, they stop carrying the last generation games and only carry the current gen for used games. And
right.
To what we know right now, there's going to be no PS4 games on it, which would be kind of fantastic if they do that, to get all the PS4 games for one yearly subscription fee. But if not, but just having the whole back catalog of the the past PlayStation games would be fantastic in its own right.
Yeah. I think I was able to get through pretty much everything that I wanted to on the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. So if when this thing does come out, it'll, like I said, it'll just be like an instant GameFly for me. Just picking up PS3 games I missed out on, because I grew up with the PS1 and the PS2, so I always had what I wanted there. Most of the games that I haven't been able to play on PS2, they've all came over as HD remakes, so I've been pretty. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I've been what I've gotten is what I've wanted. There's nothing left over.
And I've been more than preoccupied, to your point, right, with the HD remakes, and I love it. I'm reliving the Ratchet and Clank life. Big fan of those guys.
It's my favorite series.
Awesome, man. And I don't want to go off script here, but I can tell you, man, playing Ratchet and Clank 1 for the first time in I don't know how many years. What are we talking? 12 years? I don't know. I never realized how innovative that game is. Matter of fact, and the folks will probably think I'm crazy here, but when I looked at Mario Galaxy when it first came out, I thought amazing. Rotation gameplay. Well, guess what? That was in Ratchet and Clank. And it blew my mind. And so, yeah. But to your point, I am going to be playing all of the PS3 games that I never had a chance to play that's not on PSN, PS Plus, because they're doggone sure give me a whole lot of games to play now. But there are some out there that I can't wait to get to.
It's like I would just like to be able to go back and revisit some PlayStation 2 games, because it's like I'm a big fan of the JRPGs, but it's kind of from a perspective, it's feels like the PS3's has lacked a lot, up until the end now. But it'd be nice to be able to go back and replay some of them. Granted, I own a lot of them on PS2, but it's possible that we've seen the pattern for them being able to add like some level of trophy support, and what what Sony's looking into for that would be awesome.
Yeah, and let's be fair, when we talk about the implementation of PSNL, we know that everyone's talking about the pink elephant in the room. Can Sony implement a system that's not going to have the lag and give us a quality gaming experience? We know there's going to be some degradation within the video quality. However, as soon as Sony purchased, and forgive me for butchering this name, Gaikai, whatever the company was, Gaikai, the first thing I did was go out there and I played the demo of what's the Xbox exclusive with the flashlight guy? Come on,
Alan Wake.
Yeah, Alan Wake. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was amazed. Number one, I was amazed at the visual quality that came across. I wasn't playing on I think I didn't have a high def screen at the time, and then I was also amazed at the responsiveness of the keyboard. So if that technology translates to the controller, then there's something special coming.
Yeah, I think they'd be able to pull it off. It's probably going to be buggy at first, like everything is when it gets released. But they're saying if you have at least a 5 megabit per second upload speed, you shouldn't have any problems. Did you see the video of the guy playing The Last of Us on his Vita?
I did.
It looked like it was working pretty well. Of course, that always could be staged, but
well, they're supposed to have the beta starting at the end of the month.
Right.
So, like, I know there's something on the PlayStation.com to sign up for it, which I
missed
did.
that.
I know DMC did.
Thanks to you, Mike Guy. You sent me that link.
I guess I missed that.
Hopefully it's I'm sure you probably signed up for it too, Flip.
No, I had no idea that was even going on. I heard about the beta, but I didn't see anything about signups. So hopefully it's not too late. I'm gonna have to go do that after we're done with the show.
Hopefully one of us will get into it, or we'll know someone that gets into it, so we can get an idea. And hopefully, through these months of doing the beta, that they get a lot of the issues worked out, and then we get an idea of more than just the first 4 games they've announced are going to be available from the start. They'll start announcing, what's going to be able to play through it.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to say about PlayStation Now? I'm looking forward to it. But
I am.
Yeah.
That sums it up.
PlayStation TV too. I'm still on the PlayStation TV bandwagon. Gosh dog it. It needs to come to the US quicker.
Yeah.
Vita TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Vita TV. Thank you, my guy.
I'm holding out for that.
Yeah. Finally have a way to live stream my Vita games. I'm looking forward to it too. A couple other short pieces of news. Nothing too crazy. The Wolf Among Us. Did you guys ever play that?
I loved it.
Yeah, I liked it too. Telltale usually does a really good job. Episode 2 finally has a release date. They said that there's been problems with the holidays and a few other delays along the way, but that should be coming here at the end of February. So we'll finally get episode 2. And they've been saying that there shouldn't be any more crazy delays like this. So we'll see if that's true. I know they have way too much under the belt right now with that and The Walking Dead and the Game of Thrones and Borderlands.
Ooh, Game of Thrones, please. And that's the one thing I'm looking forward to. Now, is that going to be in the same format as The Walking Dead and the Wolf Among Us?
Exactly the same. It's going to be based on the TV show.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I still have yet to watch.
Man, I'm halfway through the last book.
Yeah, I haven't read the books at all. And then the other thing is EA's MLB license ran out. So I'm not a huge baseball fan. I don't play sports games at all. But it seems like Sony's going to be the only platform where baseball games come out this year.
Yeah, last year 2K had the exclusive agreement with Major League Baseball for third-party publishers, but first-party publishers could still do baseball. And they barely made last year's version, and they started out to renew it. And 2K hasn't really been the best baseball game. I'm a huge baseball fan, so I complain about yearly releases, but I almost buy the show almost every year. So, and the show's normally a pretty solid all-around baseball game. You just would like to see something out there to push it,
right?
So that way it doesn't get stale and doesn't rust on its laurels.
Yeah, I'm assuming someone's going to pick up the license eventually. I think this will be the only year where we only see one MLB game come out, but just thought that was interesting that happened. I think that's pretty much it. It's been kind of a dry week. Do you guys have anything news related you'd like to bring up?
I think you did a good job covering it. No, I don't have anything else.
Okay.
And that'll at least hit the major stories and major points.
Yeah. Well, I missed out on Tetris. That's coming to PS4 and Xbox One. That just got announced today.
Ubisoft.
Yeah.
How many ways can you play Tetris, right?
It'll never die.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're remaking that. I guess it's the 30th anniversary. Um, with some of these, I know they did like a Galaga remake and all the Pac-Man remakes. I don't know who did those. Did Ubisoft do those?
I don't know about Galaga. I know you talked me into playing that, my guy.
I can't remember who made those, but those were both really good. So if they could do something similar to that with Tetris, I think it could be pretty fun.
Yeah, yeah. And Galaga's more of a yeah. Galaga, and for some reason I thought it was a different type of game, but it was a much like a shoot 'em up, much like a Resogun. And I did enjoy playing it for the limited time that I played it.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, since there's not really any other news, we'll talk about new releases of the week. There's not a whole lot to talk about here. Hopefully the dry season ends here pretty soon. So we'll talk about this week. We got the HD remake of Assassin's Creed Liberation. Did you guys ever play that?
I just beat it the other day.
Yeah. So I haven't gotten too far into it. I played the first couple of missions or so. What'd you think of it? Is it worth a repurchase in HD?
It looks good. I gotta say, I've beating 4 and just getting swept up into, how great 4 was. Liberation, I gotta say, is a bit of a letdown. Probably if you go back, when it originally came out, along with Assassin's Creed 3, it holds up better. But after just playing 4, it's
4 is hard to compete with.
Yeah, it's like going off a cliff, and it's not
Where's
just that game, but it's just there's just some little annoyances in it that there's really not fast travel from one viewpoint to the other, so it can get kind of annoying. Running through the bayou, which is one of the areas, and having to run through the whole area just to get to one spot and not being able to just go and click the fast travel and you're there, like all the other games have.
Yeah. So I didn't get into it too much, so I don't really have anything to say about that. Got one of the viewers talking about Telltale's release schedule. It was always my understanding that their projected release date was like a month and a half for each of the Walking Dead Season 1 episodes. And I think there's only one slip up, but other than that, they held true to that pretty well. I never felt like the gap was too long. Like right now, The Wolf Among Us, it's been, I think it came out like late October, so we're looking at 3 months right now, and we still haven't gotten episode 2.
And we've got a first episode of Walking Dead Season 2.
Yeah. Did you guys play that?
Yeah, I played that.
Still haven't gotten it.
I am. Please, guys, spare me. I will finish The Walking Dead first season this week. So.
Oh, okay. Well, we won't talk any more about that. I want you to finish it before we start getting into spoilers and stuff, so we'll stay away from this topic. Last week, the only other new release in the past 2 weeks has been Don't Starve on the PS4. Did you guys get into that at all?
I have.
Yeah.
I have. I'm going to go first because mine's probably going to be the shortest. I played it for about an hour. I died repeatedly.
Yeah.
Before I had to realize I had to make fire. And then after I made fire, I fought turkeys and butterflies and killed and trapped a couple rabbits. And I realized that this was trying on me more than it should have been, and I didn't continue. So yeah. I'm really looking forward to hearing some of the user comments and your comments on how you guys experienced with that.
Yeah. Nick, you said you hadn't played much of it, did you?
No, I've ran into the issue where it says I don't have the license for it, but I know there's some thing you got to go through to restore the license, and that should solve the problem. I went to try it out the other day, and it's, if I get to it, I get to it. It's, I'll be fine one way or the other if I never play it.
Yeah. I played it when it first came out. I was not expecting what we got. The game is a lot deeper than I was expecting. From the cutesy art style makes it look so innocent, and it's definitely not. I had a lot of fun with what I played. It took a while. I was surprised they just kind of threw you in the game. It didn't really explain what to do at all. There's no indication of how to do anything. They just expected you to just go. So there's a lot to learn. I think I played probably 3 or 4 hours of it. I don't know. I've gotten the first couple trophies for unlocking characters. Um, Aside from that, I don't know. It took me a while to like figure out how to find gold, and once you find that, then you can start building the science machine and start building all these other different means to survive, I guess. And I guess that makes it a lot easier. I was watching YouTube videos, and some people have done some pretty crazy things in that game. It looks a lot more advanced than I was expecting, so I kind of stepped out of it for a little while. I'll probably get back to it eventually, but I thought it was just to be a quick game, play for like 3 or 4 hours, get all the trophies, similarly like Contrast, and it is definitely not that. As far as the trophy list on that game, it starts off fairly innocent. You have to survive for a total of 80 days to unlock all the characters. Then there's like an additional mode called Adventure Mode. You have to beat that, and that basically puts you into 5 different, like 5 or 7 randomized worlds that are like pre-customized. One of them's like always winter, one of them's always nighttime. You have to survive a certain amount of time, or you have to find 4 randomly placed items in the world and bring them to a certain spot, and that's how you beat that level. And you have to do that 5 times in order to beat Adventure Mode, and that's one of the other trophies. So,
have you did you hear about or read about the machine trophy? That's fantastic, or that's amazing. After you build the machine and you hit the lever, it throws up sparkles.
Oh,
apparently, the company has a very large disdain for trophies and achievements. And then apparently there's one additional trophy where you had to trigger the machine 740 something times.
Yeah, 725.
There you go. And what is the trophy called name? This is the hilarious part. It's something to the effect of, "I wish my friends can see me now."
I'll look it up here. Yeah, I heard they really didn't want to put trophies in the game at all. Sony kind of required them to do that. So, because if it's my understanding, I think on Steam it doesn't have any trophies at all.
Right, that's correct.
Yeah,
it does. So they fought back the only way they knew how. They could, and they made really, really funky trophy names.
Yeah, they said the trophies were going to be cheeky. For the most part, it's a pretty boring list, except for clear the adventure mode and build the accomplished shrine.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of wraps up everything for as far as new releases. We can get into some what we've been playing the past week. We can start with you, DMC. What have you been up to lately? What have you played the past week or two?
Well, congratulations. I've been on Ubisoft's poop list for the past few months because they refused to fix a couple of issues with Assassin's Creed Black Flag, one of them being the sharing is caring trophy. It was absolutely broken, even though they said it wasn't. I played like 80 hours of that game, got every single trophy required except for that one, so it prevented me from getting the plat. And lo and behold, I think on Monday, at 4 a.m. in the morning, they did something, and it reiterated through the servers, and I was on there within 15 minutes. I got all the requirements to get it, and so that was very happy, made me very happy. And then after that, I've been strictly on One Piece Pirates Warriors 2, which I'm about to pull all my hair out, and I don't have any hair on my head because you have to apparently beat this game 25,000 times for the plat, and so I'm in the process of doing that right now. It's there's a requirement that you have to play through the game. And there's probably about 50-something episodes, and then you have to get S's on all 50-something episodes. And after that, you have to get all 57 episodes and beat that in the very hard or super hard. I'm going through that process, and yours truly, Mike Guy, had already got the plat on it. So I'm chasing him at the moment.
You said you have to beat it 25,000 times. Is that an exaggeration, or?
It's an exaggeration.
Okay.
It's 100. If you're incredibly good, which no one is to this point, it's 104 missions that you have to go through, beating it on S and then on super hard. But inevitably, no one is that efficient, and so it's going to require multiple playthroughs, even beyond that. So, and these missions last anywhere between 30 minutes to 5 minutes if you're lucky. My guy was telling me about one mission that I can go through with a minute, and so it's one of the it's one of the tediums with some of these games where your love and affinity for it begins to fade as you play it. You're just like, I'm
like
not
Knack.
buying the next one of these. So hopefully I can hold true that I don't fall into the trap and get Pirate Warriors 3, but we'll see.
Yeah. I've never even heard of that. As far as the sharing is caring, you said they fixed that issue. I heard a lot of people on Xbox were having similar issues. I don't know what the issue was on the PlayStation. I haven't put as much time into Assassin's Creed as I would have liked to, but I guess on Xbox, you couldn't connect to the Microsoft servers, and it was based on like your friends list. So if you had more than 100 friends, you couldn't connect.
That issue's not fixed yet. That issue impacted several different mechanics. Number one, and the issues across the board. Ubisoft didn't build within their framework limitation with an expectation that you wasn't going to have any more than 50 plus friends. They did that with the original, I think, with Assassin's Creed 3, and then they fixed that up to 100, and didn't anticipate the next gen limits would increase. And so anybody that had over 100 friends couldn't sign on to the Ubisoft servers, and because of that, they didn't get any sharing trophies, and also they couldn't request for friends to join into their multiplayer missions or join their other friends' multiplayer missions. So they had to play with random folks. Good way to make friends, not necessarily what you bought the game for. And that issue still exists, as far as I know, up until 2 or 3 days ago. I mean, to be quite honest with you, once I got the plat, I just backed away from the entire thing. Very disgusted, hoping that none of these issues persist with Watchdog.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a shame, and I expect and hope that they fix it pretty soon. They're not as responsive as you would think a company should be on their forums, with their official statements and or their tweets. But yeah, and from what I understand, it impacts everybody. Xbox One folks, PS obviously Sony folks, and it even impacts Steam folks as well.
Did you play it on the PS3 or the PS4?
PS4.
No. Cool. What about you, Mike? What have you been up to? What have you played?
Lately I've kind of gone back to the old school well a little bit here. As DMC said, I just got the platinum for One Piece Pirate Warriors, and as I got it, I was increasingly sick of it because it's down to the final trophy and basically had to keep replaying the same level. Luckily, I only had to replay it 43 times instead of it.
I forgot about that.
So, by the end of that, I was just sick of it and done with it. If that wouldn't have got me to plat, I think I just would have deleted it off my hard drive.
What kind of game is this?
It's Dynasty Warriors. It's
like that.
Warriors meeting One Piece anime.
Okay.
So, I love Dynasty Warriors games, but this is the first one I've ever tried to go for the platinum on, and I think I've said I quit on it at least 2 or 3 times before I finally got it. But other than that, I've just been, I played Assassin's Creed Liberation, beat that. I've kind of thought of, kind of contemplating going for the platinum on that, as luckily the 100% mission completion. I've got about 2 missions, like story missions I have to go back to, and I'll have all the story 100%. But there's a lot of extra stuff to do in it. It's just a matter of some other things. I've tried Enslaved thanks to the 14 for 14 sale.
Oh, we didn't talk about that.
But I went back to the PS2, put some time into Rogue Galaxy, a classic JRPG, the PlayStation 2, and just popped back in Tales of the Abyss the other day to try to finally finish that one off before Symphonia Chronicles release next month.
Mm-hmm. So you guys are making me want to stay away from this One Piece Pirate Warriors. You said it was a lot like Dynasty Warriors, which reminded me. Did you guys hear about the new Zelda they're coming out with?
Yeah.
Yeah. That wasn't the Zelda I was looking for. I was expecting something more along the lines of an actual adventure Zelda game. So I guess we're still not buying a Wii U for me.
I gotta say, it's nice to see Nintendo do something different with its property, and then kind of let someone else work with it, because it's, Dynasty Warriors games sell, and you're gonna get a lot of people that should probably pique the interest of it, because it's Zelda meets Dynasty Warriors, and yeah, I gotta admit it kind of piques my interest.
Yeah. Still not a system seller for me, but it does look interesting.
I'm sorry, this is beaten like a dead horse, but ever since I've watched my Wii collect a 1 inch of dust on it, I refuse to fall into the same trap with the Wii U.
Yeah.
Even though folks, whether it's Pikmin or Wonderful 101, speak wonders about those games, I'm going to be content with the 3DS at this moment,
Yeah.
and just finally get a chance to play in Fire Emblem Awakening.
Yeah.
Because folks love that, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised we still haven't got an announcement for a 3D Mario. We finally got the Mario Kart announcement, which is probably when I'm going to pick up a Wii U, because I want to play that. But we still haven't gotten a Metroid either, which is really surprising.
Yeah.
I'm going to get into what I played, and then we'll talk about the 14 for 14, because I forgot to mention that in the news segment. I played a lot of DC Universe Online lately. Have you guys checked that out at all?
I've been waiting for the right moment to get back into it. I've got a level 30 hero and a level 30 villain.
See, I can't even get that far. I don't know what it is. I really like MMOs. Like I said, I played World of Warcraft for like 5 years and loved it the entire time. But there's something about DC Universe that it doesn't sit right with me. I can't figure out what it is, because it's superheroes. I'm big into the DC Universe. A lot of focus on Batman. A pretty fluid combat system. And an MMO, so it should be right up my alley, but I cannot get into it. I've tried to play it 3-4 times, and I keep getting bored. This time I made it to level 27 before I stopped, but I just could not make that final push. I want to get the platinum because I haven't started, but I don't know when I'm going to do that. So I also played Need for Speed Rivals. I played Most Wanted. I don't usually play racing games. I played Most Wanted last year, though, and really didn't like it. I want to like racing games, but I'm really bad at like the sim racers. But those people, seeing all the Forza hype and all the Gran Turismo hype, kind of made me want to play something. So, gave Need for Speed Rivals another shot. It's more arcadey than sim, so that was good. And you could play as either the cops or the racers. So if you're not good at racers, you could just play as the cops, which is what I'm doing, and you basically just interrupt the race and try to take out the racers as they're going. So I'm pretty early in that game, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's pretty good.
It's a pretty easy plat for Rivals.
Yeah, I heard it was. There's only 2 multiplayer trophies, which you should be able to get really fast. It's just basically just do one event with a friend. Aside from that, it's just leveling up, playing through both careers once. So it should be a pretty easy platinum. And then more recently, I started playing Final Fantasy 13, getting ready for Lightning Returns.
Yes.
Yay!
Yeah.
Very happy about that too.
Some Final Fantasy team love.
Yeah.
You know what?
I've heard nothing but bad things before I got into it, which has kept me away from it as long as it has. I understand what everybody means by it being linear. I'm probably 10 hours into it, and it's just a straight line.
That was my question for you, Fliptriq. I was wondering how long you were in it, and be patient, my friend, because you have a little while to go before it widens.
Yeah, I heard it's like 25 to 30 hours before it opens up.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but I've heard it's pretty rewarding once it gets done, and I'm intrigued. I'm liking what I'm playing. The combat system started off really, really slow, but I've started to get more powers, I guess, more spells, and it gets pretty tough at times. There's a certain couple enemies that I've kind of had to approach a different way, and I kind of like the approach that they've given us.
There's absolute strategy with respect to the equipment combinations, team builds, especially when you start to go against some of the plain animals, whether it's the big giant dinosaur elephant, but there's other things that will kill you dead really quick. And one of the trophies is required to knock out, apparently, to beat all these different animals in a certain amount of time and monsters. Love the game, man. Please enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm liking what I'm playing so far. It's a lot different than the other Final Fantasies. I've played 7 and 8, 9. I played a lot of the older ones on the Super Nintendo. This is the first time where if you don't play it correctly, you could get yourself killed. Like in the past, if you don't go up, like in Final Fantasy 7, if you don't go up against the boss with the right elements, you could still get through it pretty quick. And this one, you could either beat the fight in 10 seconds or it takes 4 to 5 minutes for the same one enemy, and that's kind of surprising.
Yeah.
But I like it. I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to
playing-
finishing it and getting through 2. And
There you go.
yeah, the story is actually a lot better than I anticipated. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Enjoy it, man.
yeah.
We'll talk about 2 later. My love. I don't want to jade you, but I'll just leave it at that.
So I take it
Yeah.
you're both looking forward to Lightning Returns next month?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love 13 too. It's probably one of my top 3 Final Fantasy games.
Really?
And there's a lot of probably Final Fantasy fans out there that have already crucified me for saying that. And
I'm one of them.
I can tell you 7's not in my top 3.
The thing is with me for 7, because I admit I think Final Fantasy 6 is probably the best one in the series. 7 I started playing when most of my friends had a Nintendo 64. They were all hyped about Zelda. I was playing Final Fantasy 7. I was probably 10 years old at the time. Way too young to be playing an RPG like this. It was probably the first one that I realized what kind of game it was. And through that intro where you're going through Midgar, it took me like probably 40 to 50 hours. Going back and playing it through more recently, it's only like a 5-hour section of the game. But once you finish Midgar, when I was younger, I thought I beat the game. I thought I was done. I loved it, and then the world just opens up, and my mind was blown. It was the first time I've actually encountered like an open world game like that. So,
like for me, 7 was my second JRPG I ever played and beat, because before my first one was Legend of Legaia, that brought me into the genre. But like 7, I was hooked on it when I first played it. I was in 9th grade at the time, and a friend let me borrow it. And I was forgetting my homework, not doing it. I eventually give the game back
yeah,
to my friend. 'Cause, my dude, I'm not getting my homework done. I'm coming home from school and just playing this, and it's phenomenal. And then like I wound up buying it myself, and beat it, enjoyed it, and it's I bought it off of PSN. Have restarted a playthrough, but like it may not be one of my top 3 Final Fantasies, but I definitely do love the game, and have a lot of love for it because it brought a lot of people into the JRPG genre.
yeah. That's the game that hooked me into the genre. Yeah, that's pretty much everything I've been playing. You had mentioned briefly earlier the 14 for 14 sale. I think it's probably pretty important we talk about that for a little bit. It started January 14th and it goes till the 20th. Pretty good list. I was pretty happy with most of it. I'll just go through the entire list. On PS3, you get Bit Trip Presents Runner 2 for $3.75, Crisis 3 for $5, Deus Ex Human Revolution for $13.50, Enslaved Premium Edition for $5, F1 2013 for $21, Far Cry Blood Dragon for $3.75, which I think everybody, if you haven't played that, definitely needs to pick that one up. I still haven't gotten through it. Still haven't bought it. I've heard nothing but good things. I'm looking forward to playing it, so I'm definitely picking that one up. Lone Survivor, the Director's Cut. It's $5.24, which I hear is actually pretty good. It's like a pixelated survival horror. It looks kind of interesting, so I might check that one out too. Pool Nation for $2.25, Puppeteer for $7, Rain for $3.75, which I'll talk about later when we get to the Game of the Year talk.
Dun, dun, dun. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it's not in. I don't have good things to say. So, Rayman Legends for $35.99, Tales of Xillia for $10, The Wolf Among Us Season Pass for $13.50, which I think is a pretty good buy. Thomas Was Alone for $2.50, and then on the Vita we've got Disney's Epic Mickey 2 for $7.50, Killzone Mercenary for $9, Limbo for $3.75, that Lone Survivors cross-buy. Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker for $6.99, Pixel Junk Monsters HD for $3.75, Sly Cooper Thieves in Time for $6.75, Soul Sacrifice for $9, which you should have PlayStation Plus and that'd be free. Spelunky for $3.75, which is another really good buy. Stealth Inc. for $4.19. The Walking Dead Complete First Season for $5. Thomas Was Alone's also crossed by for $250. Velocity Ultra Vita is $2, and Worms Revolution Extreme for $375. So
I just got to give a little shout out here. If you don't own Tales of Xillia, pick it up. It's worth it.
yeah,
It's if you love JRPGs, but it's like it's some I've picked up a few on the sale. Enslaved, and I've got some thoughts on that. Just kind of playing the intro of it, but yeah, I'll save that for another time.
I'm thinking about picking up Enslaved. Would you recommend it?
You haven't beat it yet, have you, Nick?
No, but like my opening experience of it is it feels like a typical Ninja Theory game. A lot of flash and a lot of fancy, but not a lot of substance.
All right. So I beat the game probably about a month after it came out. There's the part of me that's always going to have some love for Ninja Theory because of Heavenly Sword. But everything he said and done after that just really turned me off. This game, what hurts me more than anything else appears to be superficial, where they try very hard to make you care about certain characters, but you end up just absolutely disliking them at all, at least from my perspective. So the main character is Monkey, a really, really cool, gruff type guy that ends up doing some type of saving mechanism where he doesn't really want to participate. I say play it. I typically only plat games that I love, and as soon as I was finished, I got rid of it. I don't want to discourage anybody from playing it, but I say you have to play it because it's a lot of people love it, and so it might just be me.
Okay.
It's worth it for $5.
Yeah.
It's, like I've enjoyed what I've played of it so far, but it's one of those that I'm glad I didn't go out, when it first came out and drop $60 on it.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna check it out. You guys have piqued my interest a little bit, so whenever I finish Final Fantasy 13, I'll probably start playing through that.
You got to do 13 too next.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna put like a week in between 13 and 13-2. That was my plan.
You have to.
Yeah. Final Fantasy 13, I heard, was like 120 hours to get the platinum. Does that sound accurate? Yeah, so I'm going to want to break after that.
I think that sounds accurate. I remember. I felt like you might skipping my dinner and just playing that game to 3 o'clock in the morning and having to get up at 6 and go to work. Yeah. You know what? Now you caused me Fliptriq to go back and look, and I'm gonna have a report on how long it took me to platinum that next week.
All right.
It's like I haven't beat Final Fantasy 13, and it's hard for me to go back and play it because the combat system in 13.2 I think was such an improvement. But my friend I lived with at the time, he had played it. He put got like 100 hours into it, and that's why I have the trophies I have for it because of him. And it's I think I'm maybe like 55-60% complete, and he was at 100 hours in the game. So, but a lot of it was him just kind of sitting there reading guides with my PlayStation 3 on, driving me crazy.
All right. After we talked about what we've been playing the past week, I wanted to show everybody like a quick snapshot of our trophies. So we'll start with me. There's my progress so far. I'm level 21, 42%, 47 platinums. So we might do like we'll keep track of this week by week and have like a friendly competition so you can increase their percentage as the weeks go by. Should be fun. Yeah.
Where's Hannah Montana?
I actually don't have that. I've yet to do any of the...
I refuse to do it. I refuse to do it for... You know what? I've done CSI because I felt like I can justify that somehow. But you know what? When you put in the effort and the time and the hundreds of hours into a particular plat, you know what? You have to take a breather sometimes and just ease your mind and decompress. So I won't play Hannah until I get incredibly desperate. I hope that never happens.
I'm probably gonna bite the bullet and eventually do it, but I haven't done it yet. I want to boost that number as much as I can, so I'll probably play Terminator and Up and all those really easy ones eventually. It's just about finding the time. I think the only 2 platinums that are similar to that I have are Puss in Boots and the Wonder Book of Spells. And I only played those because I wanted to try out the PlayStation Move, and I got that. And so I wanted to check out Wonder Book, see what that was all about. So both those were pretty short.
Did you like it?
It was all right. Yeah, it was more of just like a 3-hour tutorial. It wasn't too exciting.
I wanted to get that. You just burst my bubble.
Oh. The new one they came out with, Diggs Nightcrawler, actually looks pretty cool. It's like you play as a detective, and the different pages of the book it's almost like a pop-up book, and you have to like tilt the pages of the book to kind of make things change in the environment. It looks kind of interesting. Then we got DMC 123, also level 21. I think it's 17% with 55 platinums.
Yep. And one of the ones I forgot to mention earlier, one of the recent games that I've been playing was Ease, PS Vita RPG game that just got I guess localized. Fantastic game. Matter of fact, it's only rivaled by Persona. Highly recommend that to any folks who has a Vita that's looking to dig into something that they can play till they fall asleep on their pillow. And that's it. The only problem with it is that I ended up falling asleep at 5 o'clock in the morning. So, fantastic game.
Yeah, I want to check that out. Some of my friends have had good things to say about it. So, then we got My Guy 2421, level 16, 42% with 10 platinums. So, you got some catching up to do. Hopefully, the podcast will kind of give you more motivation to go for those completions.
There's a couple on my list that I'd like to get. If one game that I might be the only one in the world that owns that will admit to owning it, Young Justice Legacy. Kind of wouldn't mind trying to platinum that, but it requires a co-op playthrough on all the missions. So to get that, and I'm not a big fan of. Like Assassin's Creed 4 has a level 55 for a multiplayer trophy. I'm not a big fan of that.
Right. I was actually intrigued by Young Justice. That was my problem too, is I didn't play it because I didn't have anybody to play it with.
Oh, now you do.
No, yeah. I'll go pick it up if you want to play through that.
Yeah, I'm for it. I bought it the other day for $30 at GameStop, and it was like I didn't want to pay $40 for it, but like 30 felt more of a appropriate amount to spend on it. I said 30, right? I think I did.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's not the greatest game out there, but it's enjoyable. And if you like, I take it, Flip, you're a pretty big comic book guy like myself. I'm more pro Marvel than DC.
Yeah.
But
is this better than X-Men Destiny?
X-Men Destiny's better.
Okay, that's not saying much.
Yeah, and X-Men Destiny, I was sorely disappointed in that because Activision dropped the ball on their Marvel license. But I do own it only because it's a game that's not, I believe, legally is not allowed to be sold.
Which one?
X-Men Destiny.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, I remember when they went through that.
The issue with the engine,
Right.
Silicon Knights. So, like, I picked it up again after getting rid of it for that reason.
Yeah. Okay. Now we can get into the Game of the Year talk, kind of the main topic of this week's podcast. We've got a lot of different categories we want to talk about here. We're talking about Game of the Year, PlayStation 3 Game of the Year, PS4, PSN, Vita. I also want to talk about Worst Game of the Year, Game of the Generation, and then some trophy talk, your favorite trophy over the past year, and then your most enjoyable platinum. So we'll save Game of the Year for last. Also, I don't know how your lists look, but it doesn't have to be PlayStation exclusive. I know there are a few pretty good games for other consoles. I know a lot of people have a lot of high things to say about Gone Home. I never played that, but if that's a contender on your list, feel free to include that if you'd like. Let's start with the worst game of the year. Let's start with that. What do you guys have?
Worst game of the year. You know what? I'm sorry. There's a Battle of Tiles.
I haven't even heard of that.
I feel really horrible saying this because I love the game. Right? What is this? It makes zero sense. Battle of Tiles looks like a rolling, scrolling checkerboard game. That's an RPG, and it's on PSN for $10. I bought it because I played the demo and I said, this is awesome. It has paintings on all the tiles, various types of soldiers, ghouls, zombies, and archers. And essentially you scroll through these different areas and these different levels and you go against other tiles. And sometimes the tiles kill you. And once the game that you die in the game, you're dead. And I played probably a solid 4 hours in a row of this game, and I realized that I just didn't like it, much like Catherine, which I guess it didn't come out last year, so I can't put it in that category. Anyway, so there's my nominee, Game of Tiles.
I think
Battle of Tiles.
Was that on PlayStation or?
It's out there right now on the PSN for a whole $9.
What made you pick that up?
Yeah, don't do it. Don't waste your money.
What made
me purchase it?
Yeah.
I played the demo and I said, wow. I don't know what I just got finished playing, but it was so refreshing to play something so simple and addictive. And I did a dumb knee-jerk thing, man. I had money in my wallet and I spent it in my PSN wallet. And then I realized again after 3 or 4 hours that, you know what, I just wasted $10 and I haven't played it since. You know what, and it's sad because I think it's an ingenious game and I would have loved to been the developer to release it. It's so simplistic. It probably could have come out on the original Atari 2600 and be fully functional. That's how simple the game is. So yeah, that's on me.
What about you, Mike? Where's your worst game of the year?
Okay, I'm gonna be a little odd here, and because it's like I'm kind of picky in what I play, in the games that I play in the first place.
Right.
So it's if it's something that I don't hear a lot of positive buzz about, then I may not pick it up. But if it's something that I'm interested in and I hear negative buzz about, then I'll still pick it up. But I would dare say almost like Young Justice, only because I enjoy it. But
we're talking about the same game you just told me to play with you?
Yes, I am. That's why I said it's going to sound a little weird here. But, I've almost got to do it by default out of games that I've played this year. Because I haven't played a game that I would say would be completely terrible and, unplayable. There was one indie game that I bought, I think Dragon Fantasy, Book 1 and Book 2. That
okay.
I may be giving the wrong title, but it was one of the last sales they did over Christmas.
Right, you had the title right.
Yeah, and it's like I was disappointed in that because it wasn't what I was hoping it would have been. But so I guess maybe that would be a better assertion because I was it said like classic or RPG game, so I figured out $10 2 games, why not, and kind of played some of the first part of the first section of the first game, and I just didn't care for it and really haven't gone back to it since. So I guess I'd say be a tie between that and Young Justice. I like only Young Justice because it's when you compare it to like take Marvel Ultimate Alliance that came out, was ported over from PS2 and Xbox to the 360, PS3 respectively, and looks better than Young Justice does 7-8 years later.
What game was that?
Marvel Ultimate Alliance, the first one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, but and I enjoyed whatchamacallit. It's actually I'd have to agree with our our friend out in the forum here, probably Battlefield 4 because of all the glitching.
Yeah.
So I'm getting.
I stayed away from that, and I'm glad I did.
Oh,
I've changed it 3 times.
yeah. So I was looking.
I'll settle on Battlefield 4, and I'll shut up about any other worst game.
No, let me jump on that real quick. Can I amend? My Battlefield 4 disgusted me without a patch. It was on one of my launch day purchases, and I could never log on.
Mm-hmm.
I kept it for how long? What a month? A month and a half after I got the PS4, and I think I tried probably every day for the first week, and then I tried maybe about 7 more times after that, and I could never log on no matter how many patches came out for it, and that's just a travesty. And what made it worse is that I only got $22 back when I traded it in. Thank God for GameStop, right? But gee whiz.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad I stayed away from it. I've never been really big into Call of Duty and Battlefield. A lot of my friends wanted me to play Battlefield 4, and I almost gave in, but I'm glad I didn't. I heard they're going through 3 lawsuits right now.
Yeah, they are.
From what I understand, it's really hit or miss on people that are affected with the issues on it. But and that would be why I would say that's probably my worst game of the year, only because it would crash on me almost every time I played. Play single player, the game crashed. Played multiplayer, the game crashed. And other than that, I'm sure it's I enjoyed it for what time I got on it, but you don't expect that from something like that where its big selling point is the multiplayer aspect.
Right, especially considering this is like their fourth time making the game, and then I think did they do Bad Company also? Is it the same developers?
I don't know which one specifically did Bad Company, but for Battlefield, I actually enjoy the Bad Company games more than I do the regular numerical Battlefields.
Yeah, I would just imagine their 6th time doing this, they'd finally get things right, because I heard Battlefield 3 had the same problems. They weren't nearly as bad, but they were there at the beginning. For my worst game of the year is Adventure Time Explore the Dungeon because I don't know.
Don't say that.
Why? What?
I wanted to play that game so bad, man. Who doesn't like Adventure Time? All right.
I've never been a fan of the show, so I had no appeal there. I just saw the trailer. It looked like a dungeon crawler. Looked like a really simple version of Diablo 3, and that's what I was expecting. That's what I was hoping for. If it would have been that, I would have been fine. It just was not good.
So you're not a fan of Finn and Jay?
Not so much. The humor was kind of off the wall. I didn't really understand what was going on there. The way the game's set up, it's really similar to Torchlight, just in that aspect. You start off in a town, you go into a dungeon, and you go as far down as you can. Every 5 floors, you get ported back up to the town, turn in your quests, get some new ones, go back down. There's really no reason to kill any of the enemies in the game. You could just run past them and have the same outcome as if you didn't. There's the level up system's all based on treasure that you find. One of the positives about the game that I have is the variety in the different characters. Each character has different powers. They all play completely differently, which I thought was really cool. But the main reason that I don't like the game is it had way too many freezing issues all the time. It seemed like every fourth floor I'd go to, the game would freeze, either before I started that 4th floor or after I finished it. Because I said everything was divided into 5. I think there's 100 floors total, and every 10th floor is a boss fight. So the boss fights that I got to were pretty cool. But that freezing was just so frustrating, and the game doesn't save. It only saves when you go back to the town. And it seemed like the first time I got to that 4th floor, it'd freeze. I had to replay all of that again. And the way I play Dungeon Crawler, that takes a while because I have to go through every nook and cranny and find every corner and get every piece of treasure.
It's your kind of guy, huh, Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the second pass through, I could usually get through the glitch, but it just got tiring. I got sick of playing the game over and over again, so that's my worst game of the year.
I'm disappointed, man. Adventure Time has it's the greatest cartoon in the world for me right now.
I've yet to watch any of it.
I love the regular show.
Yeah, when I was playing the game, I was live streaming the whole thing, and we had quite a few Adventure Time fans in there that were kind of explaining who each character was to me, and that show has some pretty hardcore fans.
If we go out of all cartoons, the best cartoon right now is the Venture Brothers.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I've never heard of it either.
How could you not have heard of the Venture Brothers?
I'm not big into cartoons.
I think these are massive social life events. These little mini shows that come up, and it's not to deviate, but I tell you, my kids can watch it, and then there's too many adult concepts in there for me to enjoy. Anyway,
kind of another top or category I forgot to mention earlier is biggest disappointment of the year. Do you guys ever have anything for that? I know I kind of just sprung it on you right now, but a game that you expected to be really good, like Battlefield 4, would be a great example if that's where you guys have something you expected to be good, heard great things about, got in your hands, and just was completely let down.
Yeah, I can tell you. Well, it came out last year, but Catherine, 2 years ago.
I think you're the only person who I've heard who has not liked Catherine.
I'm gonna tell you why I didn't like it, and this gets on a bigger spill for me with respect to things that annoy the heck out of me. When a developer builds chance or randomness into a component that's completely based on, and your success is completely based on luck, that has no algorithm built into it. Mm-hmm. And what I didn't like about Catherine is at some point the puzzles became tedious, and I felt like I had to be some Twitch master quick finger genius to get up here, and it hurt me because I did want to finish the game, and I ended up doing something that I never really do. Is I went to YouTube and I wanted to see the endings because every time I got ready to pick up that controller, I got disappointed and depressed. Right. And a game shouldn't make me feel that way. And so again, a lot of people, to your point, a lot of people loved it. So it's me. Right. So it didn't work for me.
I don't know.
Well, that's what I felt.
I played the demo when it was about to come out, and I liked what I played, but I never bought the game. What about you, Mike? Do you have a biggest disappointment? One of those games that you bought that you were really hyped for?
It's not one that bought or even came out this year. It's one that got delayed in Watch Dogs. Yeah. That was the game I was looking forward to most at launch of the PS4s. Coming home at like 12 in the morning on the 15th after picking it up from GameStop and popping Watch Dogs, but nope, it got delayed. So that was probably my biggest disappointment, and it's not much of a game specific thing, but just kind of like the lack of games right now on the PS4. But with the current release schedule in the next couple months, it looks like that's changing. So for the better.
Yeah. The way I look at it, I'm not usually disappointed if they delay a game. It gets kind of ridiculous when it turns out to be a South Park situation. But usually if they need to delay it, I'm usually okay with it, because it usually means they found something that's game breaking, and they don't want to ship a broken product like EA did with Battlefield. So I'm okay with the delay. Hopefully it's worth it in the end. My biggest disappointment of the year was Rain. I don't know if you guys saw the trailer for it. It looked beautiful. It looked like a really cool puzzle game. It looked, I don't know. I was hyped for it. I was looking forward to it for quite a while. I think it was the E3 previous, the previous year to when the game came out. So I think it was 2 years ago at E3 is when they announced it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they showed the trailer where you couldn't see yourself unless you're in the rain. And in my head, I just thought of all these different puzzle mechanics they could have added to it. None of that was implemented in the game at all. It was pretty much just a really simple run through. It wasn't a whole lot of thought. I never really got stuck anywhere. If I did, it was only for like 30 seconds or so, and then I just kept moving on. There was a few enemies, but even then, it was pretty simple. Another thing they introduced, like halfway through the game, mud was on the ground. If you stepped in the mud, then you made muddy footprints, and then enemies could see you. But almost immediately after you stepped in the mud, there was like a water puddle you had to step in. Like you couldn't even avoid it. You had to walk through it, and that would clear the mud off your feet. So it was completely pointless. I don't know why that was even in the game because it never came into play. It was almost like they just did that for effects. So that was my biggest disappointment.
That is disappointing. You know what? I got to strike. I have 3 little small games that I was going to play: Rain, Black Swan, and I still haven't completed Journey yet. So all those are on my list and ready and geared up for me, dialed up for me to play. And now you've just struck Rain off my list.
It's on that sale if you want to pick it up.
Oh,
I have it.
Try.
Oh, yeah.
I have it. Yeah.
If you're looking just for trophies, it's easy. It's probably like 5 hours or so. You have to play through it twice though. The second time you have to get the collectibles because they're not available the first time. But that only takes like 30 minutes to an hour.
Sure.
Because you can do chapter select and find them pretty quick. Were you talking about Unfinished Swan?
Yeah, Unfinished Swan.
Yeah, I really like that.
Black Swan. That's the one I was talking about.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was super interesting. I haven't played that yet, though.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to dial that up and knock that out, and I was going to try to do them in quick succession with Rain and Journey.
Yeah.
But I guess I can limit it.
Yeah, they're all pretty short. You should be able to run through them pretty quick, but definitely check out Unfinished Swan. I'd be curious to know what you think of it. Okay, so next category, we did worst game of the year, biggest disappointment, PlayStation Vita game of the year. I know, Mike, you said you don't have a Vita, so you don't have anything to say here.
Yeah, I've got to abstain from this one.
Okay. What about you, DMC?
Well, it's got to be Ease for me.
Yeah. I really want to play this.
Yeah, it's just a fantastic classic RPG, JRPG that actually has a decent story, decent boss fights. It's the plat's pretty straightforward. It does require you to play certain side quests within a certain amount of time, but other than that, it's a game with built-in difficulty and get-arounds, and I love that about RPGs, where they have strategic points where you can grind out and overpower your character to get there. And those are just the classic things that you want to see, and so I really enjoyed it. I mean, there's some quirks to it. If you do play it, Fliptriq, you're going to find that some of the mechanisms and how you upgrade your weapons or equipment or do combinations are very quirky and antiquated with respect to you can't say I want to combine 15x into this along with these other elements. You have to do everything individually. So that sucks. I would expect if there's a next version of that they'll improve on it. But yeah, that by far is the shining moment for me. And then as a runner-up, and this is a little cheater for me, is Sly, Thieves in Time.
Okay.
It didn't make my my PS3, but it's absolutely a gem, and it goes back to those classics, right? Those classic platformers like Ratchet and Clank. Love all the Sly games. Loved all the HD collections, and this new developer is a godsend with respect to them being on the Sly franchise. So I just hope they continue, and I'm looking forward to the next release.
Yep. I liked what I played of Sly too, and everything you're saying about East makes me really want to check that out. My Vita game of the year is Tearaway. I wanted it to be Batman, but I was really disappointed in that also. That's probably another contender for biggest disappointment. I'd stay away from that. But Tearaway is very, very good. It's really unique. It's done by Media Molecule, the same people who do Little Big Planet. It's completely different from Little Big Planet. Throws you in this papercraft world. It's kind of like an action-adventure game, but it uses every feature of the Vita. It uses the camera, the microphone, the touchpad, but it's not annoying with it. Like Uncharted, when you had to do the screen rub, stuff like that. This game, it makes you think about what you're doing. I guess it does it in a really unique way. I don't want to spoil too much, but it's definitely worth checking out. It's really colorful. It looks really good the entire time, and I was having fun the entire time we were playing it.
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna buy that, and I'm gonna buy that primarily to support them. It's amazing to me and sad that they barely sold over 250,000.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're not the only one, man. I've heard so many great. I mean, everybody universally praises that thing. So, yeah, I got to jump on it, and I appreciate you not spoiling anything.
Yeah. As you're playing through the game, you're helping create the world. There's just this isn't really spoiler heavy at all, but an example of one of the things you do, you're playing through a level where it's snowing, and prior to going into that level, one of the characters just nonchalantly has you create your own snowflake. That's kind of like a big portion of the game is you're using construction paper, and you're making your own papercraft items. Like you put like a crown on your head as one of the first ones, but later on you make a snowflake, and then you play the snow level, and whatever you made as the snowflake is actually what's populating the weather effects. So you can make it look however you want, and it shows up there. It's good. And then all the collectibles are papercraft items, and they do something pretty unique. Whenever you get a collectible, it uploads to their server, and you can go to, I think it's papercraft.me/your username, and you can print off papercraft you can print off your collectibles as the little papercraft things you can build. I'm not really into that, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that you can make your own little tearaway world, and I thought that was pretty cool. So
that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
Yeah. We'll do PSN Game of the Year next. I do need to step away for just a second, though, so I'll be right back. You guys to talk about your PSN Game of the Year while I'm gone. I should be back in just a second.
You got it.
All right.
All right, Mike, what you got?
I'll probably go with Resogun. It's just because it was a fun game, and it's my first PS4 plat. It's enjoyable. It's I don't think it's a system seller by any means. It's just a fun throwback shooter to the old Galaga days of old. When that's what we played. But I'd have to say Resogun.
All right. Well, Resogun is a pretty impressive game, though. If anybody hasn't played it yet, you definitely want to. Well, gosh darn it, if you have a PS4, you played it, right? It's free.
Yeah.
But when it leaves, gosh darn it, if you didn't give it a chance and it's out there, go ahead and download it and check it out. It's one of probably the more fun shoot 'em up games out there, and I had a chance to play extensively with it with Mike Guy, and what I found probably more impressive about that is that it's not just your classic left thumbstick, right thumbstick, move, shoot. There's so many nuanced controls that help you get past the gameplay, that if you become a master of that, right, you master the game. Now, apparently I'm talking to two folks here that platinum Resogun, and I'm the only one that hasn't. But yeah, I think that's definitely a game. I'm going to cheat with respect to my PSN because I haven't beat the game yet, but I absolutely love it. And so I'm halfway through it, and I'm just so impressed with The Walking Dead at this moment. And so that's my PSN game of the year. And I don't know if and Fliptriq, help me out here. If it gets a disc release, can it technically, and a PSN release, can it technically still be called a PSN game? Does this have to be a holistically PSN game? Am I cheating?
No, you can classify it however you want. It was on PSN for a year before it got a disc release. So,
okay.
And then,
yeah, that was my game of the year of 2013 or 2012.
So I am cheating. I'm cheating by a year. All right, so I'm not even looking at 2013.
Yeah.
Resogun for PSN Game of the Year.
All right.
Why'd you pick that?
Oh, it was fun. It was one of those things that, it was, as I said, it was my first PS4 Platinum, and it's, just kind of a fun throwback to the old Galaga Kings of old, and those shooters, and it's sometimes, as much as we love story and things like that, sometimes it's nice just be able to play something that engrosses you just because of the pure fun of it.
Right. Yeah, I really liked Resogun. I have nothing bad to say about that. I really enjoyed it. Housemarque always knocks it out of the park. I really like Super Stardust, and Super Stardust Delta on the Vita are both really good games as well.
Yeah.
We're doing PSN, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Mine was Guacamelee. Either of you play that?
I
I played it and beat it, and I have it's a phenomenal game, and it reminds me a lot of Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Mm-hmm.
But I got some frustrations with it.
Yeah, it's definitely hard. It reminded me of the Super Nintendo days, just playing old retro games that are just ridiculously hard. They don't cater to the current audience where they feel like they have to make everything easy. It has the Metroidvania aspects of it. I love that game. That's the only game that I finished last year that immediately after I finished it, I had to start the hard playthrough, and I just could not put that game down. I loved every minute of that game. It was so much fun. I did a walkthrough on my YouTube channel, and seeing all the comments of people just extremely frustrated with that game was kind of funny. So I guess my walkthrough helped quite a lot of people get through some pretty tricky parts of that game. It's unforgivingly hard. The boss fights are tough. The platforming takes platforming games to a whole new level. It's a great game.
I want to check it out. I gotta check it out.
I didn't have the bigger problem with some of the boss fights. To be honest, my biggest frustration came with some of the platforming elements of like gliding through and having to phase out certain pillars and such. Just some of that kind of frustrating for me.
Well, I have that game. My current state backlog is absolutely ridiculous, and so it's sitting there on my PS Vita looking at me every time I cut it on.
Yeah.
And I got to get to it, man. Yeah. I got to get to it.
Yeah, I think it's only about 6 hours long though, so.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah,
I'm down for that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There's a certain part of my playthrough where you get this power where you can like climb up on the wall and then shoot across, and you basically fly until you hit another wall. And then they added another layer to the puzzle where there's different like dimensions you go through, and you fly through this portal and it puts you in a different dimension, or you fly through a portal and it moves you down to the bottom, and then if you change dimensions it flips the portals, so instead of a portal being here there'd be one like down on the bottom. And you have to be so fast and precise with this that people on my YouTube video said I was cheating, and I edited the video to make it look like I did it.
I remember that one. That one was tough.
Yeah.
When I first ran into it, I quit playing it and came back to it like a couple days later and finally got it.
You know, it's amazing that it's I found some of that gameplay in Hotline Miami where
that's another good one.
Absolutely have to have bionic man reflexes to get through some of these things. And I find that every time I pick up a gun, it kills me. So I have to kill people with crowbars. But anyway. Yeah.
I really liked Hotline Miami. I finished it. I got most of the trophies. I don't think I'll ever be able to A rank everything, but I might try to go back to that eventually. Let's get into PS3 Game of the Year. I'm sure there's like 3 different options here that the majority of us are probably pulling from, but I'll go ahead and start. Mine was The Last of Us. I don't really have a bad thing to say about the game. Naughty Dog knocked it out of the park with this one. It looks great. It looks like it doesn't look like a PS3 game. It looks like you're running on a high-end PC. The story kind of makes you feel bad for all the characters. You have this emotional attachment for them where you just feel terrible. It's not a game where you necessarily are having fun in this one. You're kind of just getting through it, but you're enjoying the resolution as you get through it. It was dark. I was not expecting it to be as dark as it was. I guess it looks like an action adventure game. It's almost like a survival horror, and the way they approached the combat, where you don't have to play stealth, but it just makes so much sense to play stealth. where it feels like that's what you're supposed to do, and I don't think any other game's really done that before. So that's my reasoning behind The Last of Us. And that multiplayer is actually really fun. Like I said, I hate multiplayer, and I played like 40 hours of that just to get those trophies. I really liked the multiplayer in that one. So
Yeah, multiplayer is the thing. That's where I met you, Mike.
Yep.
And yeah, I think I spent more time playing the multiplayer than the actual game itself, and that was one of the most enjoyable platinums I think I've had in a long time, just because of the sheer love I have for the game. Where even the second and third playthroughs were so much more informative with respect to the characters, the conversation, the insight and foresight that you now have while you're playing. I'm sorry, I just jumped in here. Obviously, I think folks can now read into my game of the year. Is also for the PS3 is also The Last of Us. So I would just add to what you said, Fliptriq, 100% right. What made this game so good is not the uniqueness of the story, which I thought was very well directed, very well acted, right? But the fact that Naughty Dog delivered a very unapologetic presentation that did not care to give you whatever outcome you wanted. They told a story, and I think you hit the nail on the head again, with respect to characters, to whether you liked them or not, or felt indifferent. Each character was delivered so well that you just knew that it was something special. Whether it was the innocent person that shouldn't have died, or whether it was, I don't know, for the folks who haven't played the game yet, play it. Even if it was the major scene where Ellie is fighting someone inside of a restaurant, which I thought was one of the greatest scenes in characters ever. But I just don't want to spoil it yet, because I think we haven't given anybody any warnings about it. But yeah, so I'll leave it at that. There's been tons of articles, tons of videos on it, and what an awesome game, and Naughty Dog deserves all the kudos they can get for it.
Yeah, I think we can get into spoilers. I mean, it's been out for quite a while. It's gotten tons of hype. I'm sure everyone who's wanted to play the game has already. Because what I wanted to say is pretty spoiler heavy.
You know what? You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
the game didn't come out last month. Go ahead.
So, if you want to avoid spoilers, probably fast forward like a minute or two here. Right after that scene where Joel gets stabbed with the pole from falling from the roof, and you play as Ellie, that hit really hard, because I was shocked. I was like applauding Naughty Dog for killing off the main character, and they did it in such a way where you were shocked that they actually did that. You were just taken aback. Your jaw hits the floor, and you're like, they did not just kill him. Yeah. I think they did. Oh my God, he's dead. And you just play as Ellie, and you're starting over. You have completely different mechanics.
Yeah.
That was something else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The DLC, they just announced the date. I think it was yesterday. Yesterday they announced it, February 14th.
Yeah.
So that's how I'll be spending my Valentine's Day.
That's my birthday, and then I will be also asking my wife and kids to let me play that all day.
Yeah.
So, my birthday thing.
Yeah, it's supposed to take place prior to the game. You play as Ellie and Riley. I guess they're just hanging out in a mall in this post-apocalyptic world. I'm not sure if there's any combat, because I think Joel teaches her pretty much everything she knows about combat and survival. Yeah. So it's going to be unique to see how they handle that and still make it be The Last of Us. I actually haven't platinumed that game. I wanted to. I've held off on it just because I wanted to save my second playthrough for a later date. I didn't want to play. I would have played it back to back, but I wanted to save it so I could relive it once I've forgotten everything, which is hard to do.
No, it's. I think you'll savor the conversations more when you do it.
Yeah.
So let's see if we get the trifecta.
If somebody have a broom, bring it out for the sweep.
What have you got?
It's The Last of Us. There's nothing that touches it by a mile. It's, and there's a lot of great contenders this year. I'd say BioShock Infinite. It wasn't my cup of tea, but you hear nothing but great things about it. and some realities, Grand Theft Auto 5, the new Mario game on the Wii. We've heard great things about that. The new Tomb Raider, like any other year, this would be, yeah, Nino Cooney would have come down to the wire, but The Last of Us has got it. It again proves why you don't need to know what Naughty Dog's making, but as long as you know they are making a game for PlayStation, it makes that reason alone is enough to buy a PlayStation console.
Yeah.
Like to your point about when he thought they killed off Joel with at the university where he falls down and the rebar goes through him. That was my thought too. It's like, holy crap! After two fake outs with Sully dying in Uncharted.
Yeah.
Have they really pulled the trigger here and got But it was just a phenomenal game to go in and play the multiplayer. DMC said it. That's where I met him playing the multiplayer on there. He found me. I was hiding under the waterfall in the dam for like 3 minutes, and nobody found me until he stumbled upon me. But the multiplayer is fun and engaging, and you can easily get lost in it. For for anybody that's not if you're not a big multiplayer person, you'll have a great time on the multiplayer.
Yeah,
But
and they managed to take so many things from the single player game and put it into the multiplayer game to where it almost felt like you were playing the single player still, which is really hard to do.
And it's just like it, and like if you watch the documentary that Naughty Dog has about the making of, since we're going to a little spoilerly, it just makes you appreciate the game so much more, as far as the work that went into it. Just like watching the scene where Joel's daughter dies, Sarah, right?
I think so.
And it's watching that scene and watching Troy Baker talking about it and seeing him act it out on their mocap stage, and it's just it just adds so much more weight to it.
Yeah.
As far as than what you saw there, because you saw physically what he was going through to portray this, and just how amazing it came off, and just you can't say enough great things about the game. And it's there's people out there that I've seen that don't care for it. I don't understand. I guess in their world there is world peace where you don't like The Last of Us, but it's a phenomenal game, and if you haven't played it, you should play it. And if you don't like it, it's I feel bad for you that you weren't able to enjoy it.
Yeah. I completely forgot about the beginning, that intro where you play as Sarah, and you get so attached to Sarah in that short time you play as her. Yeah. And then they just kill her off, and it's almost the game could do without it, but the way that they get you so attached to those characters right off the bat, just from the first 10 minutes of the game.
It's the direction.
Yeah.
That little banter that Sarah and Joel has on the couch about the watch and her selling selling drugs.
Yeah.
How awesome is that, right? And you get it. And you get that it's just light conversation between a dad who works hard and a self-sufficient daughter, who scraps up money or saves up money and gets him something that he needs. And it's it's the direction. And what I find in gaming these days is that I've really enjoyed gameplay, without question, make no doubt about it.
Right.
However, what puts it over the top for me is when you can deliver gameplay with fantastic direction and acting, right? And that's the reason why eventually I have to play, Bioshock Infinite, because I understand that kind of falls in the category, even though some folks have complaints. But you just simply cannot take anything away from The Last of Us.
Yeah. I'm sure we could talk about Last of Us for hours on end, so we'll switch topics, go to PS4 Game of the Year. For me, we've already talked about this, so I'll get this out of the way, was Resogun. What about you, DMC?
It's going to have to be Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Okay.
I tried to play the first Assassin's Creed many, many years ago, and I got probably about quarter through the game, and I just didn't want to play anymore.
Yeah, it was so repetitive. Just doing the same thing
so
over and over.
And you know what? And unfortunately, Assassin's Creed Black Flag falls to that same category with respect to follow these guys, listen to this conversation, do this, do that, murder this person, But what drew me in is saving pirates, getting on those open waters, cursing every time a storm came up, and trying to maneuver around within the waves.
Right.
It is by far the most fascinating gameplay mechanics on the water ever materialized in gaming, and so or visualized in gaming. Really enjoyed it. The story wasn't necessarily great. The gameplay mechanics was tight. Surely there was a whole bunch of issues associated with bugs and glitches, but you know what? We don't have a large pool to pick from.
Right.
I also enjoyed Knack and Resogun as well, but and Killzone, but by far for me personally, it was the Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I liked how they really addressed their audience and focused on what made Assassin's Creed 3 as bad as it was. Basically the pacing. Like when I started playing Assassin's Creed 4, just right off the bat, you were having fun. So I appreciated that. So, what about you, Mike?
I gotta say, I enjoyed 3, and that was my first Assassin's Creed game I've actually beat, and this is from someone that owns them all.
Well, it just took forever for that game to get started. You were playing for like 6 to 8 hours before you got your assassin suit, and the pacing was so off. That's what I didn't like about it.
My biggest issue with 3 would have been the naval battles, which is why Assassin's Creed 4 would be my PS4 game of the year, because they just knocked it out of the park.
Right.
And, like the naval battles and it were so engaging, so fun to sit there and ride the jackdaw around and hear the sea shanties being sung and have them stuck in your head.
I liked how you changed them like you would a radio station in Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. And it's just the just like all you could do in it. It's just I enjoy the story of it.
Right.
That's the thing is that you get 3 different people, 3 different opinions on the same game, but we can all like it, but for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just granted there wasn't much to choose from, but I'd have to say Assassin's Creed 4 would be my PS4 game of the year.
Yeah. See, I feel like I'd probably be higher on my list if I played more of it, but I set it aside and just haven't really gotten too into it yet. I'm probably only 3 or 4 hours in, but what I've played, I've liked. So I understand everything you guys are saying.
It's worth the time to put into it.
Yeah.
And to your point, you really never open up until you're off on your own when you leave out of Havana.
Right, I got past that part.
Where you really feel like, okay, I can do what the heck I want to do now.
Yeah.
When that's
U.S.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and get into Game of the Year talk. All of us prepared a list of 5 to go with. So we'll just start with you, Mike.
You want to see if I've got my 5 right?
Yeah.
Okay, my top 5 games would be Tomb Raider.
Are these in order, or are these just the list?
This is just the list.
Okay, well, we'll save your Game of the Year separate. Just say the 4. They don't really necessarily have to be in an order, but I want to hear your Game of the Year separate though.
Okay, so it'd be Tomb Raider, the new Tomb Raider, of course, a fantastic game. Tales of Xillia, I'm a huge Tales of fan, and it's like after I played it and beat it, like I felt bad because it was just nothing else could fill that void that Xillia created there.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed 4 would be there, and then mainly because I'm a huge Metal Gear fan, I'd have to put Metal Gear Rising on there. And to be honest with you, Konami could package Metal Gear toilet paper, and I'd be dumb enough to buy it. That's how big of a fan I am of the Metal Gear franchise.
Okay.
But those would be 4 of my top games, and then I guess we're holding off for our overall game of the year.
Well, I just wanted you to pick one of those 5 out, so you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the number one, of course, would be The Last of Us.
Okay.
You know, it's you can't say enough about it.
Okay. What about you, DMC?
All right. Well, I'm gonna make you say ill again. Going from the bottom up, man. Again, Metal Gear Rising
Mm-hmm.
Was fun, and it made me get mad because I couldn't platinum it.
Yeah.
It wasn't good enough.
Some of those platinums or some of those trophies were pretty hard. Just
Yeah.
how precise you had to be to cut off the arms, that was a huge turnoff for me.
Yeah, and you get good at it, second, third playthrough. But I hate to leave games so close on the chopping block. But anyway, that game was awesome, and I put that in the same category. This is kind of a cheat number 5 because it's grouping. I can't. Dishonored was a really game last year. First person perspective, remind me so much of Thief. Really like that a lot, and God of War Ascension. I know it got so much slack. Really love that game. One of the better God of War games for me. And then for number 4, Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Number 3 for me was GTA 5, and that game, I think, although it is what it is, open world, do whatever the heck you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
There's something to be said about the scope. It would never be a game of the year for me. Because of the lack of content, and I think you touched on it very early on in the show that the one thing you wanted to do over and over and over again, or at least do it in the online play, was do group heist.
Right.
And that's the one thing that was kept away from you.
Right.
And so, but I think the concept again is improving, and it makes you want to look forward to what's going to happen in the next version of it that comes out in the next 20 years. After that, and you touched on this earlier. Mike, Ni no Kuni, the most sweet, wonderful RPG I played last year. Loved that game. It was I think many people compare it to, just some type of Sony version of Pokemon, and I loved it. Wanted to play it over and over again. Loved the purple dragon. It just was an awesome, cute game, and you didn't feel any less of a man playing it.
Right.
So,
which is surprising based on the art style of it and everything.
Yeah, it's just awesome. And then that leads us to number 1, which is The Last of Us, I don't know. We already said all we can say about that game.
Yeah. For me, my list starts off with Ratchet and Clank into the Nexus. After the 2 previous Ratchet and Clanks, it was nice to see something that held to its roots, and I really liked
Darn
it.
you, Fliptriq. That should be on my list. Where is it? I remember talking. You know what? What a great game. Continue.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
Yeah. Number 4 for me was Remember Me. A lot of people didn't like it, but I actually did. I thought the story was something completely different. I really liked the memory sequences. I don't know. It was good. Number 3 for me is Ni no Kuni. Number 2 is The Last of Us. And number 1 is Guacamelee.
Yeah. Hey, that made it on several Game of the Year lists, and so it's not to be frowned upon.
It was good. The game. Yeah, definitely check it out. Another category that I forgot to mention earlier was most anticipated game. I know there's not a whole lot that's been announced, but is there anything out there that you guys are just aching for?
I've got 2 that are my most anticipated. Would be Tales of Xillia 2, which I believe comes out in July, and then Tales of Zestria, which is going to be, I think, sometime either towards the end of this year or the first of next year. And it'll be the first Tales game ever to be simultaneously released worldwide at the same time. So those would be my and Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zero. So I've got about I've got 3 that are on my most anticipated.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. See, I forgot about Ground Zero, and yeah. So anyway, originally I had The Order and Destiny. Those 2 games piqued my interest more so than anything else, and that's not even to mention that I'm gonna jump on Second Son as soon as it releases, and Watch Dogs. But yeah, the order, and this is the classic scenario where the less information you have, the more you want it. So out of all the games, you know the least about the order. But
Right.
yeah, that's the one I'm most anticipating.
It does look, from the little we know, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely be playing through that one. For me, I'm looking forward to the new Infamous that's coming out, and Final Fantasy 13-3. I know I still have a lot to get through, but them advertising it as the most non-linear Final Fantasy is something that appeals to me quite a bit. So I'm looking forward, and the combat looks pretty good too. Also, Kingdom Hearts 3 is another one on my list.
That's another one that I gotta play. I'm looking at some of the comments. So Dark Souls 2, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So when you talk about Dark Souls, I was a Demon Souls guy. Picked up Dark Souls when it came out. Bought the book. Shivering when I went around corners. Right. Dumped about 290 hours into that game. So I am looking forward to Dark Souls 2 and Lightning Returns, as you said, as well. And yeah.
Did you guys play the beta of Dark Souls 2?
No, I missed it.
Yeah. It was only up for like 3 hours. Yeah, I played it. It's more of the same. I'd never really played. I played Demon Souls a little bit, and I've seen some people live stream Dark Souls. I'd never personally played it myself, but what I played of Dark Souls 2 just seemed like a lot more dying.
A lot more dying, right?
The graphics looked the same as the first one. The design was the same. The items, for the most part, looked the same. So the layout and the UI and the combat all seemed pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing.
No, it isn't, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I hope that they somehow, some way, announce some type of port to the next gen platforms. But much like Rockstar, I don't think we're going to hit peep about that until after they're released at some time.
Yeah. A lot of people in the comments talking about Bravely Default. Is that the game that's kind of like Grandia and Persona?
Wow, is Bravely Default off my radar?
It's a 3DS game. Like I honestly don't know much about it because, like, you see all these times about 3DS games, JRPGs, and they wind up only being for the 3DS. So, because I don't really do handhelds that much, I just kind of shoo them off. But there's been a lot of positive buzz on it, and it's so, and like I haven't heard too much about it, but what I have heard has been pretty positive.
I think I remember hearing people talk about it, but I can't remember if I'm remembering the same game or not. But I don't know.
Division, looking at another comment. That was another. What was that? Was that Ubisoft as well? No.
Yes,
it's going crazy.
Kind of like the open world MMO style Tom Clancy game. It looks like it has a lot of potential. I heard it got delayed till next year. They finished the engine, but they have yet to start the game actually. So
okay,
yeah.
Right, well,
they showed it off at E3 last year though.
From some of the comments, it looks like informing us that Bravely Default is more like a classic Final Fantasy, and that's where a lot of the hype has come. Now, granted, I would love a new Grandia game. Throwing that out there.
Yeah. Well, I think that's pretty much everything I had on the topic list. Is there anything else you guys wanted to discuss before we take off for this week?
No, I just got to hurry up and beat The Walking Dead so you guys don't spoil the next episode for me, huh?
We'll stay away from spoilers from that.
I'll knock it out. I'll be ready. I got to play the first episode to see what's up. It's.
How far into it are you?
I think I'm I'm at some store where somebody just had a heart attack. So I don't know where that is. I don't know if that's in episode 1 or 2, but I'll push through it.
All right.
I think the whole entire thing is 10 hours, right?
10 to 12, based on how fast you go.
Yeah, I'll push through it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Normally we talk about upcoming releases, but it looks like there's nothing for next week, so The week after that, I think, is Lego Movie the Game. I think is coming out.
Tomb Raider.
Oh,
Definitive Edition.
that's what it is. Okay, Tomb Raider, and then it's the Lego Movie. Yeah, Tomb Raider. Have you seen the side-by-side comparison from PS3 to PS4?
It looks good.
Yeah, it does.
It's like I've
It
got
is
a
insane.
off, and I've been like talking it up to DMC to get him to get it because the PS3 version was fantastic, and I've been wanting to play it again, but I've been holding off for the definitive edition for my second playthrough.
Yeah. I'm trying to find a picture to show everybody. It looks almost like a completely different game. I wish I didn't get so burnt out on the first one, or playing it through the first time, because I'm probably going to skip over it this time, but...
Yeah, I skipped over the first one because I heard so many people talk about the burnout quality of it, but maybe I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
You should. You're doing yourself a disservice not playing it. You know, it's... Get it on GameFly. Disc might not work, but...
Here's a comparison of it, PS3 to PS4. It makes the PS3 version look like a PlayStation 1 game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge comparison, or a huge difference. I was shocked when I saw that, actually. I guess they remodeled Lara Croft entirely for this. So, that's that. I know this is our first episode of the podcast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Wanted to open it up to you guys. If you wanted to be part of the show, call. Let us know what your game of the year is. Now would be the time. We'll take a few viewer calls if anybody wants to call in. We've got a number 302 TCP show. So if anybody's interested, basically we'll open up to anything game related. You can tell us your game of the year, what you're looking forward to. If you have trophies you're chasing, you want to talk about those. If you have any trophy tips you need or would like to give, basically that's what the viewer call section would be for. I know right now this is just our first episode, kind of sprung it out on everybody. Not a lot of people knew we're going to be doing this right away, so in the future hopefully we'll have more viewers to talk to, but I'd really like to start getting other people's opinions on things. Now we'll also be doing a few giveaways, so we'll talk about those here in a little bit. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Probably go 5 minutes, see if anybody decides to call in.
Okay.
Oh. Huh.
I got Mistress Gamer selling me on BioShock Infinite. So I just, I think I just did it. Yeah, it's on PSN now, so on PSN Plus. I believe I downloaded it.
Yep, free for PlayStation Plus this week.
Yeah.
And the next week you get Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, which I hear is fantastic, and I really want to play that. It's only like 3 hours long, but I hear it's definitely worth your time.
That's the game where each thumbstick controls a different brother.
Right. Yes.
And you pick up or throw with your L1, L2, R2, L1. But yeah, looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, I've heard the ending was pretty depressing. We had a few comments of people talking about the ending was unexpected.
No. Trying to search to save their mother, and now we know the ending's depressing.
Yeah. Well, that's what we get for not playing it when it first came out.
Yeah, you're exactly right. The Witch and the 100 Nights looks awesome. Okay, so that game is it hasn't been ported yet. It's something that's going to be scheduled to come over in the next few months. It's that's one of those games where you're going to sink 170 hours into it to do everything that's needed to do. But I'm a big Dissidia fan. It's made by the same developer. I'm probably going to jump on that. Cheeks 19 brought that up.
Yeah, I think one of the No, I think that was Dissidia. The game where it came out on PlayStation Plus a while back, and I checked it out. You're in a school or something. It's kind of like an RPG. Is that the same game you're talking about?
Yeah, well, that's the same one. I don't know if that was 2 or 3. I think
it was 3.
Yeah, I played the Vita version of that game. It's almost like a Final Fantasy Tactics on extreme steroids, and it's very funny, very off the cuff with respect to its comments. They really hold no barns, and it just stops at being a mature game with some of the commentary. But I love a developer. They turn out games like there's no tomorrow, and they have zero problem with localization, which I love. But so when I think about The Witch and 100 Nights, it's just primarily I want to support them, A, but B, they're going to deliver something that I hope that I would like. How about that?
Yeah. Are these the same people who made the Witch and 100 Night?
Yep.
Okay. I've never heard of this at all, so it's all new to me.
We learn something new every day. Should have known that comment was coming from me.
Speaking of capture cards, we can get into that. Over the next few episodes that we do of this, we'll be doing this every Thursday at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock Central Time. Or 7 o'clock Central, I think. I don't remember. What time would we start this? It was 7 o'clock Mountain Time, so yeah, 8 o'clock Central. Okay.
Yep, and it's going to be 9 o'clock Eastern.
Right. Okay. We'll be doing giveaways and the caller giveaways, so probably we'll do something like caller number 9 gets a prize, or a random caller will get a prize. We'll be doing PlayStation Network cards, like $20 cards. I've got a copy of Skylanders Swap Force that I'm going to be giving away. I've also got a Hapage HD PVR. That'll be another one of the prizes that we give. So just a few things that we'll be doing over the next few weeks if you guys are interested. So those would be all to viewers and callers. So stay tuned for those.
And tell your folks to tune in and join in the hopes that they might be able to get one of the giveaways.
And as you guys know, we've been reading the comments, responding to you, as we go. We appreciate the feedback and the suggestions. It's try to be as interactive as we can.
Yeah. Yeah, if there's ever a topic we're discussing that you want to be part of, feel free to give us a call. But we'll always open up the show at the end for anything anybody wants to call in and talk about, any random gaming topic.
Actually, we did have a suggestion topic way early on in the comments here about if we could go back and have a game with trophies. What game would that be?
Final Fantasy VII.
Final Fantasy VII? That took no time at all.
If I could have a game with trophies, which one would it be? You know what? It would be oh my goodness. What I can't believe. You know what? I'm gonna ask you guys to hold on right now. I'm gonna go find out I can't believe I forgot the name. Right back.
Well, if we're going any game, I would probably have to say it might be my probably my all-time favorite JRPG would be Skies of Arcadia. That I would love to see an HD remake of that, and with trophies.
Yeah.
That would be that's on my video game bucket list of things that I'd like to see. If I got that, a sequel to Skies of Arcadia, Shenmue 3, I think I would be done. I don't think that mountain could get any better. You know, that might be it for me. You know, it's
Yeah, I think a lot of RPGs would do well as HD remakes. Legend of Dragoon would be another good one.
yeah.
Valkyria Chronicles.
This game,
Yeah.
absolutely love it. Hurt me to my heart that that the other versions were released on the PSP. They didn't even bother to come to the PS3. What a wonderful game! I would love to have that. It's never going to happen because Sega. And that brings me to a topic that I probably would love to talk about next week if we can. Is Yakuza. And I don't know if Fliptriq, if you're a fan.
I've never
There's
heard
a
of it.
small contingent of people that are loyalists, and so anyway.
Heard another one that a lot of people want trophies in is White Knight Chronicles. I guess that came out before trophies were a thing.
No, they have trophies in it now.
No, it does?
They had a double.
The problem with White Knight Chronicles is they shut down the server.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
So you can't get the platinum for it anymore. It's God, I want to say it's probably like a year ago that it got shut down, and you can't get the platinum for it anymore. But it's just kind of like we've got Mag shutting down soon, SOCOM, and a few others. Did we update the number on the yeah?
I think we might have a problem with our call-in. Should be 302-827-7469.
But you know, but there's so many games out there that you know, that we'd love to replay. Like I would love a remake of Final Fantasy 12 in HD, 6, you know, with a complete graphical overhaul. But
So T-Bag, you said that you can probably still get the platinum on White Knight Chronicles. I know it's a grind for the ages. Share, man. Give us a call. Let us know. I thought the servers prevented that from happening.
I'm gonna give this a try and see if this actually works. It was working before we started recording because we tested it out.
so you want to know what game we'd like to be remade and on what system? Is the system? You can ask as many questions as you want. We're not the question police. But so it's so you want to know what game we'd like to have remade and what system, or if there's a system we'd like to have it remade. Because mine would have to be Skies of Arcadia, hands down.
Yeah, it's working for me. 302-827-7469.
Oh, good.
So. Okay.
Tetris on PS4. Tetris on PS4 is coming.
Yeah.
Ubisoft will bring us to us with fancy colors and 3D pivots.
Mine would easily be Skies of Arcadia, would be which was originally released on Dreamcast, and that's why with the question, what was probably one of my favorite systems, and I'd have to say Dreamcast would be it. And because it gave us games, it gave us Skies of Arcadia. In my opinion, gave us probably the best Sonic game and Sonic Adventure, and after that they've been kind of downhill. But it would be Skies of Arcadia for me, even though it did get somewhat remade and released on the GameCube, but I would like to see an HD version with trophies.
Yeah.
I haven't played that one either.
That's
That was on the Dreamcast, right?
originally on the Dreamcast and on the GameCube. It's just to go through it, and I was talking with DMC about this the other day. Just to go through it and just to kind of like go through the story is like a minimum 40 hours without making all the discoveries there are to make, getting all the crew members for your ship, getting everything for your hideout. It's just a phenomenal game, and like Sega just sits on these great properties, but keeps churning out Sonic games that just lose quality after each iteration. Paperboy, I remember renting copies of that from Kroger's as a kid for the original Nintendo, and and playing that on the original Nintendo. Good old Paperboy.
Yeah.
Oh. We got it. Oh, they've kind of. It seems like Teabag. They've kind of gone away from a lot of the extreme sports style games. Just from what I've seen, mainly because Tony Hawk, Activision kind of killed it with the yearly Tony Hawk. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's something. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not something you see coming back.
Yes, Mr. Gamer, you can say your name and call, and it's perfectly fine.
You can say your name or your screen name, whatever you prefer. You want to remain
that screen name.
If you only want to be known as Mistress Gamer, that's fine.
It's an awesome game. That's an awesome name. How many people are that?
Your real identity will remain a secret. Until it's revealed like Wolverines.
Never get into Marvel comic talk or Transformers talk with Mike Guy. That's the rule.
All right. Well, it looks like we don't have anybody wants to break the ice with the call-in, so I guess we'll extend that to the next show. Next week we'll open it up to callers and hopefully have someone
that's brave enough to call in.
Yeah.
All right. Tell your friends.
Yep. Like I said, we'll be doing this every Thursday, 9 o'clock Eastern time. So be sure to tune in then. It should be a little bit shorter of a show. We won't have all the Game of the Year talk. I know that took a big portion of it. But we will be talking about what we've been playing, new releases, new gaming news, stuff like that. So this week is a little bit different because we had all the introductions and all the Game of the Year talk. So going to go ahead and end this here. Thank you all for watching. Me personally, I should be back here pretty soon, probably like in an hour or so, and I'll be streaming more Final Fantasy 13, so if you're interested in that, feel free to swing back by. But thank you all for being part of the show. This is something I've wanted to do for quite a while, so I'm glad I was finally able to get it done. Thanks to both of you for being part of this with me. Had a good time doing the first show, and look forward to next week.
Feel free to friend us on PSN if you want to hook up, play anything on PSN with us. Our gamer tags are listed below us, and keep the conversation going after the show. We'll be more than happy to accept any friend request, and of course let your friends know about us.
All right.
Thanks,
guys.
Yep. Thanks for
See you
watching.
next week.